to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, as we come to this meeting tonight, help us to glorify you in all that we do and say. Help us to be obedient to your word and understand what the truth is and follow it. Again, we thank you for the city of Barling and what it means to us. We thank you for our police officers and our firemen. Continue to bless and watch over them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All righty, I'd like to apologize to anybody who's watching on the internet. Our video feed's not working, but they can hear us, so they're probably they're the lucky ones. They don't have to look at our nice, pretty faces. So, anyway, let's do a roll call.
Aaron Rowe.
Here.
John Nanus.
Here.
James Davis.
Here.
Savannah Robinson.
Here.
Ken Cauley. Bill Young.
Here.
Ron Sharon.
Here. All right, we've got a quorum. Has everybody been able to look over the minutes from the June 11th meeting? We'd like a motion to approve those minutes as written.
I'll make a motion to approve them as printed.
Second.
Got a motion by Ken, seconded by John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by the same. All right, ayes have it. All right. Is anybody here from the public that would like to talk about any of the agenda items at this time? No? All right. There is no unfinished business, so let's move right along to new business. Discussion of cards trash rate increase. Mr. Steve?
You'll find in your packet the letter from Cards. The discussion is also about how much it's going to be. Right now, because we did a little foresight and thinking last fall, we will not have to increase the rate for the citizens. It will stay the same. We will keep a watch on it. Charity can tell you that we watch how much is passed and what it does to our revenue, and I will tell you that sanitation and water and sewer are like an enterprise fund. They have to pay their own way, which is why the finance folks, Charity and Megan, watch to see. But if we don't have to make an increase and it doesn't chew into it our margin, then we'll be okay.
It's about $17,000 a year is what it's going to increase.
And we've got enough to cover that the way it stands. Okay.
Charity, assume that they do this again next year at the same time. Are we gonna have to go up on our rate at that time?
I don't think so, not next year, maybe the
Okay.
next year after that, but our contract is up and we'll be throwing it out for bid, so we can
Okay.
renegotiate our contract in and maybe even,
Okay.
take that out. It's gonna be hard to find someone who doesn't include that in their contract though, because fuel does fluctuate.
Sure.
All right, any more questions on that?
I have a comment.
All righty.
I look forward to this contract ending. And I want that on the record.
Okay.
Duly noted. All right, moving on. Discussion of door-to-door sales ordinance changes. What do you have for us on that, Steve?
We have two ordinances that have been on the books for a great number of years. The original 135 has been amended by 352, and it basically, our ordinance is in confirmation with the state. It needs to be updated for how things are handled now, because this ordinance, the basic ordinance, is from 1982, which is 40 plus years ago, so it's probably time. 352 has been done 15 years ago, and it was for raising the door-to-door sales permit and narrowing the time. We have had, as Howard Cosell said one time, a veritable plethora of traveling salesmen and door-to-door peddlers, and they have descended upon everybody. So one is Matt Ketchum has been looking at the regs and looking at what they say. Megan has done a job of going through all the current regs and what also they covered at Municipal League. And we have signs to give and issue. The metal has not come in yet, but they are here, and so if you want to hand those to them and let them look at them, this is right from the Muni League lawyers, and this was discussed down there because there's nothing like having your supper disturbed or someone else evangelizing on your deal, and we have had cases where people have literally tried to push through the doors and show up. The best thing to do is to have one, and if these are posted, this gives the law authorities, if that's out there and it's pretty much expressed in the state statutes, we'll let them give them a vacation down with Hobie's Hotel if you don't take it. They had a couple the other night, and one of them showed up at the lady who issues the permits. And that's a terrible mistake. Our officers, they apparently have a selected time they try, and it's sometime right after your workday ends and you're home breaking bread or watching the news and they decide to show up. We think that this is the best way to take care of it, and it will give them all an opportunity to excel selling something other than out disturbing the people in Barling. They have descended on several towns around here, and the basic thing is that the state of Arkansas, you have to have a license statewide. Then you have to have a permit to go in the town that you're in. It's not quite like the days of the Green River ordinance that was here, for those of you that are that old, but we had them. And its main thing is to control who's wandering around the territory and going around beating on doors and wandering through yards or showing up in your carport or coming up through your open garage door to bang on your kitchen door. It's to keep them out. It's not to keep people from selling. And the other thing is, we had avalanche of solar panels. Everybody in the world thought they were going to peddle solar panels all over town. What they don't know is that when you sign up for that fantastic solar panel, it also has an encumbrance, and we've discovered it in the paperwork that comes back, that you can't sell your house unless the solar panels on the roof are paid off. Your house is encumbered whether you planned it or not. The other thing we've had is a tremendous problem, which we think we finally got them by the ears now, but we've had people that in the solar panel business can't follow the directions that are issued, and they are very simple, and the coordination with OG&E it's not hard if you just read the directions. But apparently they have folks that are out and they're pushing the product, and the results are not going to be good at some time into the future. But this is the first thing we're talking about corralling some of the door-to-door sales and keeping people from being bothered and pestered. You can't do like the old jokes about what happened to the third salesman and the second one just left. You can't do that. But you can set the times and the hours. And Matt and Kim and Joe have been working with this and we get all kinds of calls about people out selling everything from soup to nuts.
On the signs, now they're free, right? We're gonna provide those to whoever wants one.
Yeah.
So just come down to City Hall, ask for Kim or Megan or Charity, and they'll be glad to get you one of these signs. Now, I know we can't see video on there, but it says absolutely no soliciting, do not ring bell or knock, No politics, no religion, no charity, no fundraising, no salesmen, no estimates, no exceptions, no excuses, and that's what the sign reads. So if anybody in the city would like one of those signs, now the wires aren't here to put it in your yard yet, but if you would like one of those signs, please feel free to come down to City Hall and pick one of those up for your yard.
Bad time for that. Well, we're out getting signatures right now.
I
Yeah,
know it.
really. We're exempt though.
Yeah.
You're not, that's the other thing, this is not partisan out here, there's no partisan politics,
Right,
okay?
but it's still, there's still
So-
people, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but if you had partisan, it's to keep
Yeah.
partisan.
Take one of those signs with you, John.
Oh, I already got one.
So here, y'all can have this sign after you sign this.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd work.
Get a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So all know that the ordinance is coming, the change is coming, the signs are here, and there's things that are being worked on.
All righty. Any questions, comments by anybody? All right, moving right along, let's go to department head reports. Mr. Joe.
I don't have a whole lot, but most of my month has been dominated by grass, obviously. We had been working on the lagoon there, at Heritage. We finally got that contracted out, got it mowed. It got turned over to Matt today for the lean part of that, so that's that process going. The only other thing that I had is, several meetings ago, we had a question about maybe sponsoring a rabies clinic. I had looked into that, and we think we got a vet lined up. We're working out some details exactly when. It may be fall. I don't think we're gonna get anything done summer-wise, but there's definitely interest in that we can get that moving along.
All righty. Charity or Megan, do y'all have anything? No? All right, Mr. Tommy?
Be brief, in the month of May, we had 3 fires, 63 medical, 21 public service, for a total of 87 runs. Average response time was 2 minutes, 14 seconds. We had 2 calls at the same time, 3 times, for a total of 6 runs. We had 3 calls at once, 1 time, for a total of 3 runs. We made 2 calls outside the city, both were to Central City. One was a medical, one was a public service. And hydrant painting is in full swing. That's all I got.
What color are we going with this year?
NFPA.
All righty. Brian?
I really don't have anything. Everything's running as it should. We have a blood drive coming up July the 17th from 2 to 6 p. The old CD parking lot. Partnering up with the fire department and Blood Institute, so if anybody wants to come donate blood, July the 17th from 2 to 6 p, I appreciate it.
You're fully staffed now.
Yes.
Is up
We
there
got
now?
everything at the splash pad lined out down there.
We do what we can. There's no big issues other than, well, yeah, I know everything's.
A lot of misleading information going on down
That's-
there.
Yeah, I was trying to find a good way to say that, yeah.
All righty, Steve, it's all yours now.
I've got, in your packet, you'll see this colored map. The colored map is adapted from the first map, which is the Fort Smith bullseye. And what I have done is blown up the county data map that includes Barling and Fort Smith. And I transposed or translated the decibels and their ratings. And if you'll see, the 75 dB is at the far northwest corner down by the cemetery, down in the hollow down there. The 70 dB run is basically just south of Moody Road, and it turns at 22nd Street, heads up 22nd, and then cuts across and heads for the back side of the water tower, and then falls off that hill down across Mazard. And the 65 dB, which is pretty much normal sound, runs on a diagonal across town, basically from southwest to northeast. That means that probably the 65 to 70 area will be in the north, primarily the northwest corner of town. The Fort Smith ordinance for the noise control or noise construction passed the other night. Okay, basically, if you read it, what it is the new construction and the new work will have to take into account the noise attenuation measures. You have to read the noise attenuation measures to understand that, number one, not only is distance on your side, vegetation can be on your side, building materials can be on your side, and orientation of your house can be on your side. This is for new work coming in. The question is always, and was asked about, what about existing? And the answer was, you can ask for a variance. And variances are granted all the time. Doesn't mean that you're gonna automatically get it. But if you had to do repair for your house and say a tree crashed through your living room, you might not want to spend the money on the house other than to get it repaired for the status quo, instead of spending any sound attenuation or whatever that you need. But you got to think about that. So they tried to get it to where people could have a running shout at what they're doing. The other part about lights, there's nobody out here with any thought process needs to be showing lasers at aircraft going by, period. If you got some genius that thinks about it, we need to know about it, because that will blind somebody, and you sure don't be blind by a flyer that comes into your house. The next thing is the street lights. And one of the things we've done out here is we're one of the towns that we don't have the shielded lights, but we have them directed down. And my comment was, there's two ways that you deter criminals. You either got it fully lit where you can see what it's doing, or totally dark, so they got to have a flashlight and you'll know where the bad guy is in the dark. But you don't do it halfway, but you got to think about how you do it. So we've had that in our ordinance for years about the lights and the light fixtures, and which is why when you look at some of these subdivisions, you know why. And then we're not affected by the 30-foot rule or the altitude rule out there, but the main thing is light and noise. And so we'll try to be fair about what's doing. The new builders, the people that have got the new work, know about this stuff. A lot of the new houses are already in the Fort Smith area anyhow, and we've got a very limited land amount up here in town that will be affected by the 70 dB line, the 70 to 75 decibel line. And that is that. And then I wanted to cover, we have a request for a temporary right of easement from Fort Smith to go for a 48-inch water line. You all probably have never heard, but in the original master plan, in the master plan for Chaffee, on the east side of the Locking Dam Road, that hillside was set aside for a future Barling water tower to equal the altitude of the one that we've got up here. And it's to give circulation when something is built out there at adequate flows. Okay. What we have done is this 48-inch line they're bringing in from Lake Fort Smith, they want to do exploration to see about a line route. Well, Matt can tell you that the attorney they've been through this 3 times, and I told them you don't want to go through a cemetery. The only way that they can get an exploration round is on the west side of the cemetery, where there is a roadway that was never constructed, but it was platted in the old days, and part of it is already there as 11th Street. And what I've done is we've gone and had the survey made, and you can look at it here, and this is north to south if you look at it, and it is a route for the pipeline. because that's a 48-inch pipeline, and my comment is, we would be willing to talk about the water line running there if they're willing to build the road. Okay? Because that's the surest way to get 11th Street. And for those of you that don't know, you can't get to anywhere south without having to go all the way up to Chad Colley and go in, or come down here to the highway department. And that was something that somebody years ago, they never thought about it, never thought it had happened. But that's the one way I know, and I have talked to Matt about it, and he's worked with their attorney down there to tell him that, hey, you know, there is a way, but you can't go down the east side of the cemetery. There's graves on the east side of the cemetery. I don't want you down there. The other thing is, and you need to know, and think about this, 11th Street that you're going up the existing Church Street, 11th Street is a real live crossing of the railroad. You never want to give a railroad crossing back, or you'll have what happened down at Ozark when they had the one that went to the restaurant and they gave up the crossing and they can't get it back from Union Pacific. If you've got that crossing and it's yours and you're using it, don't give it up, because you'll never get it. Not it back. So this is here, and I wanted everybody to know about it. And if you see a boring truck going down there with a sampler boring, if they do go and exercise this option, they will be down there on the west side of the cemetery, and there won't be anything in the cemetery at all. It'll be down where there is a road, and where the property that we used to have is down there. And they set a temporary easement crossing and all that. And as Matt told him, told Colby Rowe, it has to be corrected to the right side. The other thing is, we got a notice of public notice for funds availability for the bridge. Everybody's concerned about the bridge, and the public notice was dated June 7th of 2024. The vertical clearance will be 70 feet. That makes you stop and think about that, 70 foot off the surface, okay? And the horizontal clearance between the piers is 400 feet, so that gives you an idea of the size of that bridge. That is going to be one big, and I have it if you want to look on the, if it's your favorite fishing spot, well, you sure want to look about it and think about it, okay? And then the last item I wanted to talk to you about is an ex officio member for the city of Barling for the meetings with the trust. And the person that I had considered is Steve Beam, and I will tell you why I asked for Steve Beam. Steve was here as a board member of this board years ago when the trust happened. Kenneth is nodding his head over here because he was on that board at that time. When we go to deal with the trust out there, and we are in discussion with them, and they cancel their meeting for the tail end of this month, so it's next month. But when we go to deal with them, I would like somebody who actually sat in on some of the board and how that trust was founded. I want somebody that sat there and heard the discussion, because whether you all know it or not, and you will now, the people that were in that discussion, outside of Ken and Steve, was Ray Carruthers, who was the city administrator acting at that time, and he's dead. Greg Carver, who was the attorney, and he's dead, okay? So there was nobody from the city of Barling except for Ken, who's now on our board, and Steve Beam to do that. And you don't go into this arguing with anybody or negotiating with anybody without somebody was there when the ground was first cast, okay? And that's the reason I'm asking for you all to bless and approve whatever. There's many reasons, and when you're sitting here dealing, you have to remember that the people that are on that trust, not every one of them was on that trust when it was first started, and I looked at all the names.
None of them were.
None?
No.
Okay.
Does it really matter what was said? What matters is what's wrote?
What's wrote and what memories and where it might be in the files. There's lots of reasons.
So you're asking the board to approve
Yes.
Steve Beam as an ex officio?
For us, yes.
Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Steve Bean to be on the ex-issue member of the.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Aaron, let's do a roll call vote.
Aaron Rowe,
Yes.
John Manus,
Yeah.
James Davis,
Yes.
Savannah Robinson,
Yes.
Ken Coley,
Yes.
Bill Young,
Yes.
Ron Sharon.
Yes.
Steve Beam's gonna be our ex officio, and he'll report to us whenever he goes to the meetings. He'll report to Steve, and, that'll help out, because I'm unable to make some of the meetings on some weeks I can, so that'll help us out greatly, especially with his vast knowledge and experience with that trust. Alrighty, do we have any announcement? We got July 3rd next week, 5 p.m. till fireworks are over.
Aaron's got some things he wants. to point
Aaron,
out.
let's hear it.
Okay, I got 2 or 3 things.
Have at it. It's your time to shine.
About the stuff's been going around on Facebook.
All right. Which one?
Splash pad.
The thong.
The thong. We're gonna bring up the thong. Okay.
Do we, I mean, me and myself, I don't think little kids need to be looking at that. Do we need a dress code?
No.
When I-
Well, there ain't
No.
been, I've been around checking all these splash pads and I don't see one of them that's got a dress code up there. You know.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, how do we stop that?
Don't take the kid. If you think about it, and you think that the kid doesn't need to be there, don't take them.
Yeah, but a woman shouldn't be going around with the rear end
Hey,
showing.
hey, wait a minute. We're not in the dress police, and we're not in the dress code, and we're not gonna get there, cause that'll get you sued for sure.
Okay.
A lot of people upset about it.
Well, they can be, they don't have to be there.
Number 2.
That's real good, that's a good way to look at it.
Number 2. How many gallons of water are we pumping into that a month?
For the splash pad?
Yeah.
Well, it's saving us a lot of money. It's saving us a lot of money on that, having to pay that extra money at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's the difference. It's not,
Yeah.
the difference is the breakage.
Yeah.
If we don't take a certain amount per month,
We're in trouble.
we're in trouble.
Okay.
And so we make sure that we've got that, and that's part of it. And if you want to see the numbers, you can come see how much it is per month.
Well, what I was getting at was, would we be saving money if we recaptured that water?
No, that's how that girl died and other people that died at Little Rock. You gotta have a treatment plant,
No, I understand that.
and that's what got them.
I understand
We
that.
have to pay for a certain amount of water regardless of whether we use it or not. And over the last several years, we've had to pay out $30,000 in excess money just for the water. So when we built the splash pad, we knew that it would almost negate that, to where we just don't have to pay that extra anymore. We're paying it up front. We're actually using the water that we're paying for.
You have to
Okay.
pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to pay for it no matter what under that contract.
Well,
Conserve it, don't save. I mean,
no, I mean, I didn't
Well,
know.
it's got conservation signals and flashers on it. You don't trip it till you get there.
Yeah.
and one more thing, a fence around the splash pad. Now, I'm just covering all the aspects, but
I heard somebody comment about that, and here's the thing, you got folks that, the park money, they don't want, the fence, you don't.
I understand the park. I'm just going by what people out there is telling us, you know, that they
Why
want.
why would you fence a splash pad?
So they can keep the kids from running off. That's their,
I read the comments today. I've looked into fencing it. I don't know whether you would want me to fence just the pad
Or
or
in
as far
between.
as the pavilion, because if people are having parties at the pavilion, the kids are gonna be free anyways, if
Yeah.
they're running back and forth. So, and if we did the pavilions too, it's gonna be a huge area to fence in, not against it, that's
Right.
just what it is. I also have considered we could do a fence along the parking lot itself, cause that's.
Separate the
basically what
pad from the
issue is.
cars.
Yeah.
Just basically like a guard there
Right.
to stop from running
it's not gonna be effective, and it'll be
Well, no, I-
torn down.
I'm just
rode
trying to cover
down.
what the folks out there, they want to cover.
Every fence we've ever had at any place out here, there's been somebody, even behind the park over here, they cut the fence with a set of bolt cutters and come in the back way.
What is the fire chief and the police chief's opinion on something like that?
The fence or
Parental
yes.
supervision.
Aside from that? Because we know.
You mean the fence
Is,
itself?
do you guys see a problem of what they're talking about, or is this just an isolated incident?
I've not had any calls or anything like that, so.
We haven't had any calls related to kids getting away.
Hey, Barling's full of them. I mean,
Where the kids going?
well, no, I'm just saying, hey, Barling's got a bunch, if you wanna read a bunch of stuff, Bill.
The parking lot, they
No.
said they're bolting straight to the parking lot, because it's not that far, that's why I thought, not a boundary, but a fence, an open-ended, maybe so mama could catch them by the time they ran around it, if that's something you wanted to do. But that did just start yesterday or today on Hay Barling, and people were
Right.
saying they would like it.
Something similar to like, that's at the front part of the park by the playground, that little road deal.
Than a metal pipe fence.
Yeah.
I mean, sometime I've looked at a shorter 3 or 4 foot, like, white picket fence or something like that.
Something just to separate the parking lot from the splash
First
pad.
thing you're gonna have is some kid impaled on the picket or climbing over it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guarantee you. I guarantee you.
Maybe a little taller than.
Maybe I'll-
It's something to think about.
Will not fit in the-
Hey,
That's something definitely to discuss.
Yeah, that's right, can't shut it off.
Yeah.
Next time I go out there, I'll check it out.
If you,
Drive by there today, it'd be a good thing. It's on your way home.
Well, it's definitely
It
not preventing
is.
people from playing on it, because that splash pad is packed at all hours
I
of the
think we
day.
ought to run all that excess water into a good pond.
y'all probably don't know, but every Saturday afternoon, I usually come out when it's in there and I drive
I
through
don't need to bring it in.
and see how many are out there and where the license tags are from. And the license tags are not all from Arkansas, they're from Oklahoma and Missouri, everywhere, they're here.
Yeah.
And so, if
But when
it
we
was
had
that, if it was that great a hazard, there wouldn't be anybody there.
Well, I know. I mean, when we were down there putting that bridge in the other day, I mean, them people come from everywhere. Whenever we turned that water on, they were coming from the woods, the splash, the cars.
School buses show up and they're not from this school district,
Right.
they're from somewhere else.
There's a lot of folks using it.
3 bus loads at one time, and you're talking about, hey, there's something hazard here. What?
dress code, Matt said he doesn't think it's even legal to tell them what they can wear to do.
You're asking for trouble.
You
So
got
we
it.
ain't going there anyway.
I'm afraid I'd bend over and get back up and I'd be in violation or something.
Well, you might-
Offending people.
Chief decided to come out there and get you.
What was it
He's
you
not gonna weigh in
said?
on it.
Parental supervision? Yeah, that's,
We could offer
That's the
parenting
key to
classes
most of all the problems is parental supervision on a lot of things.
right here.
Worry more about people being out there shouldn't be, like sex offenders or
Yeah,
predators. but-
yeah.
yeah.
If you go out there and you see somebody parked way off down on the end down there, you need to go take a look and get a tag and find out.
Oh, they
who-
do. I mean,
And I, usually on Saturdays from about 4 o'clock on, in the summers, I make it right by and I see and I check and count and verify what's going on and see that nobody's set something on fire or anything else.
I know some dude sitting in a car, just sitting there by himself.
Yeah,
How often do you guys patrol that park during the summer day?
A lot.
Lot?
Yeah. We're through there as much as we can be.
they're there quite often, Bill. Trust me.
And I roll through there a lot. Of course, I don't drive a marked vehicle, but I mean, I roll through as often as I can as well.
Alrighty, any other announcements or any other discussion anybody'd like to have?
Cameras are working at the park.
Cameras are live at the park, good.
Nobody knows where they're at.
In front of you, and we probably should put a memo with it, there's a direct deposit form. If you want your pay for the city of Barling to be direct deposited, you can fill that out and get it back to me. If you don't, we'll still cut you a check, that's fine. It's just that it just might be easier for,
It ain't easier.
but, whatever you wanna do. But if you want it, just fill that out and let us know. If not, we'll have checks ready, after this meeting, so either the next meeting or
All righty, so we're all gearing up for next week for July the 3rd. All right, is anybody from the public like to talk about any non-agenda items like to come forward and speak? If you would, just state your name and,
Oh, God.
Most of my, questions have been answered, we still got the splash pad. Dress code, fence, y'all made that clear. But Joe, I have a question about residential parking on the street
Okay,
in reference to a utility trailer, like a roofing trailer,
okay.
like parked like 2 feet out from the curb.
I think I already know what you're talking about. If it's the third terrace,
Yeah.
we're addressing that. We had went by there initially, we had a talk with him.
He's got 3 trailers, and I know he's out of room, but he's also in the way.
Yeah, basically what it's gonna come down to is he's already been told he's gonna be cited. We've already looked at that. I drive by there regularly, I take pictures. So, yeah, it's a matter of getting him cited, getting him into court. He's been told already. So what the deal was on this is, under the ordinance, as long as a trailer is behind the sight line of your home, you are allowed to keep one. So he made arrangements and he could get one trailer up there, but then the next thing you know, he has 2. Then he has one hooked up to his vehicle. And at one point, they said he may have been operating a business from his home. I did the best investigation we could on that. I don't really think he's operating a business from his home, but what I think he's doing is, I think that's part of his, like, he's going out and has a business or doing jobs and just bringing that home with him. But yeah, that's gonna be a matter of getting him cited. Yeah.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. All righty. Mr. Ron, would you do the honors?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned, folks. Have a great day.
6
Hey, oh, I gotta get back here.
Some of your